is no God. Most people are terrified by that thought.
There are many, and they live among us.
Whoa. You're not leaving.
I'll just catch up with you guys later.
My friends and I can give you a ride.
You know, I'm gonna walk anyway. Hello? Where am I?
The other side of the rainbow.
If Santillán took your friend, there's nothing you can do.
In return for the gods' protection, he gives to them sacrifice. I know where his friend is.
Los espíritus. Papa's gonna use you to talk to him. What's gonna happen to me?
He's alive.
So what do we do? You got some pretty brave friends poking their nose where they shouldn't be poking it. These guys are gonna come back and finish what they started. We're sitting ducks. I'm scared.
I walk in the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
What I need? Screams.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Story Behind the Screams. I'm your host Aaron. Each week we take a look at the real life inspirations behind some of our favourite horror movies, all the way from huge blockbuster horror movies to some lesser known cult classics and the terrifying real life stories that inspired them. This week we take a look at Borderlands, which is a 2007 American-Mexican horror film written and directed by Zev Berman. The movie follows three college students, Phil, Ed and Henry, as they take a road trip into Mexico for a week of drinking and carefree fun, only to have Phil find himself captive of a group of satanic Mexican drug smugglers who kill tourists and who are looking for a new group to prepare for sacrifice. While the plot for this movie might sound crazy and far-fetched, it is loosely based on real-life events. The movie takes inspiration from the story of Adolfo de Jesus Constanzo, a drug lord and leader of a religious cult that practiced human sacrifice. Constanzo and his followers, called the Narcosatanists, kidnapped and murdered University of Texas junior Mark J. Kilroy in the spring of 1989. Adolfo was born in Miami to a Cuban immigrant mother in 1962. He was baptized as Catholic but accompanied his mother on trips to Haiti to learn about voodoo. As a teenager, he became apprenticed to a local sorcerer and began practicing a religion called Palo, which involves human sacrifice. His mother remarried after her husband died. Her new partner was deeply involved in both religion and drug dealing. He and his mother were arrested numerous times for theft, vandalism and shoplifting. He also graduated from high school but was expelled from prep school. As an adult, he moved to Mexico City and met Martin Quintana, Jorge Montes and Omar Oria. They started a company casting spells to bring good luck, which involved expensive ritual sacrifices of chickens, goats, snakes, zebras, and even lion cubs. Most of his clients were rich dealers and hitmen who enjoyed the violence. This also included several high-ranking corrupt policemen who introduced him to the city's drug cartels. Both he and his team started to raid graves for human bones to put in his magical cauldron. Not long after, they decided that the power of the cauldron would be stronger with live human sacrifices. More than 20 people were murdered in and around Mexico City. This continued until it was decided they needed the power of a brain for an American student, which resulted in the death of Mark Kilroy. Adolfo started to actually believe that his spells were the cause of the success of the cartels and demanded to become a full business partner with one of the most powerful families he knew, the Calzadas. When he was rejected, 7 of the family members went missing. The bodies turned up with missing fingers, toes, ears, brains, and even spines missing. He soon made friends with a new cartel, the Hernandez brothers, and also became close with a woman by the name of Sara Aldrate, whom he made a high priestess of the cult and supervised his followers, while he was shipping weed over the border to the US. In 1988, he moved to Rancho Santa Elena, a compound in the desert where he carried out more and more sadistic ritual murders on strangers and rival gangs. This location was also used to store huge amounts of cocaine and weed. On March 13, 1989, his henchmen abducted a pre-med student by the name of Mark Kilroy from outside a bar when he was on vacation for spring break and took him back to the ranch. He was lured to the truck by a man asking if he needed a ride, and when he got close he was grabbed by two men and bundled inside the car. Due to his strength, Mark actually managed to break free and escape the car about 2 blocks from where he was taken, but was ultimately cut off by another vehicle close by. Upon arrival to the ranch, he was sodomized and tortured before finally being killed by Adolfo by a machete slashed to the back of his neck. His brain was removed and his body chopped up and buried. Under mounting pressure from Texas politicians, Mexican police picked up some of the cult followers and 2 of the Hernandez brothers. They discovered the scope of the cult and raided the ranch, finding multiple bodies buried, one of which was Mark's. They also found dead black cats, bones and human brains inside the cauldron. Adolfo had fled the ranch before this and taken refuge in an apartment in Mexico City. Police had been called to the complex on an unrelated incident, but due to mounting paranoia he believed they had found him and opened fire with a machine gun. This brought huge reinforcements, and determined to not go to prison, he handed the gun to a follower and ordered him to shoot him. The movie doesn't follow the story exactly, but it is cited as an inspiration. The movie is good in all aspects and will cater to fans of this style of movie. The movie has a gritty look and a sort of overexposure at times. The actors in this do an amazing job, especially the villains. If you aren't into some horrible realistic violence, then this movie isn't for you. Because unfortunately you can't tell yourself it's just a movie because it's based on some horrifying real life events. If you decide to watch this one, brace yourself. Thanks as always for the support, everybody. Make sure to subscribe and review the podcast if you enjoyed this, and hit me up over on Instagram at First Class Horror and tell me the most violent movie you've ever seen.